Good evening once again, and welcome to the show, which now called the Ref's Opinion. Used to be called the Monday Review Show. Everything else is the same. The only thing that's changed is the name of the show, which is now called the Ref's Opinion, and you can get it online like all previous episodes. I'm delighted to be joined again by I could call him my good friend. Can I, Keith, call you my good friend?
Absolutely.
And colleague from Sheffield in England, and we discuss all things referees and refereeing and decisions given and some not given, be they yellow, red cards, etc., etc., etc. If you'd like to make a comment, you can do so. There's a little space down there on your screen, and you can make your comments and ask a question, or if you want to criticize Keith and I, well, go ahead. We're used to that. You know, we've been a long time in this game now, getting criticism and slapped around the ear even sometimes.
Absolutely.
But you can make comments on the show. So, as I said, I'm delighted to be joined by former Premier League, former FIFA referee, former head of the PGMOL. The PGMOL is the Professional Games Match Officials Limited, and they're the people who look after the referees in the Premier League and in the Championship. And Keith is also responsible for introducing goal line technology, which has been a huge success and has been called into force, as it were, many times and proven to be correct by the watch type instrument that they use on their wrist. Keith, just a couple of red cards just to start the ball rolling. During the game, Everton player Keane was sent off for pulling the hair of an opponent. Can't remember who the opponent was now. What team was it?
Yeah.
Right. He was pulling his hair from behind, and there was a huge discussion on it. Took quite a bit of time for VAR to sort it out. I don't know why. I mean, pulling somebody's hair is effectively violent conduct. So I don't know why the big long delay there was, but eventually he was sent off. You agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, the referee's got no option. I mean, I've read a lot on social media saying he didn't really pull it that hard. I mean, and the referee taking some criticism for actually doing it, saying slightly unfair. The reality is that when a referee is faced with that situation, and I don't think he had a very clear view, VAR came in and as a consequence, the player was dismissed. Correct decision. In law, it's violent conduct. We want players to play with their feet and play football. There's far too much going on in the game at the moment that is making life difficult for referees at all levels of the game. I want to say that because we've got this continuous problem of simulation. We've got the holding and pulling in the penalty area that referees are ignoring generally, and then I think we've got incidents like this that when they come up, the general consensus is, well, that's okay, and then we've had one or two incidents where the player has come in low on the opponent and lifted him literally off the ground and slammed onto the floor. And I said that is a red card offence. He's endangered the safety of the opponent. It comes under serious foul play. And I smiled because I got a bit of criticism for that. But the reality was, here comes along a grassroots rugby union referee who immediately said that's a 10+ match ban, substantial ban. And I went, yeah, what's the difference? Lifting and slamming is one. This is no different. So, yep. I mean,
yeah, 100%. I agree with you, and I got a lot of mail, as it were, different forms and texts and social media and so on, saying, but it was only a little tug. That's not the issue. That's
Yeah.
not the issue. He pulled his hair. And to pull anybody's hair is the equivalent to sticking your hand in their face. It's still touching another person on the head, and it's violent conduct. Absolutely red card. The other red card, Keith, happened yesterday. Manchester United against, who did they play yesterday? Brighton, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, in the FA Cup. Now, this new kid has burst onto the scene. Lacey is his surname. I think it's Shea Lacey. And from what I saw him, he had played during the week in a league match, and he was very, very, very good. Even the commentators were saying, "Wow, where was this guy hiding?" So he was playing in the FA Cup yesterday. He had already been cautioned for an incident, and then he was in a tussle for the ball on the touchline, and the ball went out of play. He thought he should have got the throw in, went to grab the ball. When he saw that the referee had said no, it's the other way, he slammed the ball down on the ground. And I knew immediately Simon Hooper went for his yellow card, and at the same time his hand was going for his back pocket. I can't believe and understand the mentality, almost comments by former professional players, one of them being Danny Murphy, who played for Liverpool, said, "Oh, the referee should have been a little more lenient. He should have given a little bit of space. He's only a new kid on the block." But how can you let him off, which you shouldn't do anyway, and then not let others off because they're more experienced? And so he pulled out the red card, and the youngster was totally aghast. I don't know if you saw the game.
I did. And Simon Hooper did exactly what the law expects. This was a demonstration of very public dissent by slamming the ball into the ground. He left Simon Hooper no route for the quiet word or public rebuke. I've read also the comments, and look, when he steps onto the white bit of a professional football ground in a first team scenario, doesn't matter what the age of the player is. There's some players that are touching on 40, and there's some that's 17, 18. Doesn't matter. He's a player, and the player has to play within the laws of the game. And I think this will be a lesson to him. I would have liked, what followed really upset me as well. I mean, the standing manager, maybe the 100th standing manager of Manchester United, who knows? I mean, as a club at the moment, they appear to be in disarray. But even the manager was walked towards Simon Hooper and clearly gave him a volley of, one assumes, what he thought about that particular incident. If Michael Carrick did do that, and he felt that was supporting his own player, I would have liked Simon Hooper to pull his yellow card and said, "I've done exactly what I needed to do." So, look, if this is a problem and clubs don't understand it, you've got academies. You can get referees into those academies as youngsters, and you can run through the laws of the game, and they can have a discussion with referees and understand the laws of the game. I mean, certainly my time, I don't know if it takes place now, but we used to go in, the referees used to go in at the PGMOL in the early days, and also the FA at one stage put in an examination. So I think this is naive on the player. The referee had no option other than to issue that second yellow card.
Now, this youngster, I think he's probably about 18 or so. He surely has watched a lot of football, and he has surely seen this type of incident happen before. That slamming the ball on the ground. It's like racket abuse in tennis, I guess. Slamming the ball. He knows that that's a cautionable offence. And if you're already booked, I know he's only a kid, but he has to learn. And by Darren Fletcher going and appearing to rebuke the referee. I mean, is it any wonder these kids are not learning when their managers appear to be defending them, and former professional players like Danny Murphy saying, oh, the referee could have been a little bit more lenient? Come on, Danny Murphy, for heaven's sake, bit of cop on now. How's the kid going to learn if he doesn't learn either from his manager or his coach, or learn the hard way, as this young kid has done?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question in my mind that, we all want to see youngsters come into the game, and we all want them to succeed. But there's a discipline. The game is played under a set of laws, 17 of them, and we expect them to have a knowledge of the laws of the game. We don't expect them to be referees. But I just shudder at the modern game where players are on yellow cards, and it's as though it doesn't matter. And then they do another reckless challenge or a dissent offence, and then when they get a second yellow, everybody's going, well, it's the referee's fault. I mean, no, it's the player's fault.
A couple of comments here from one from Don Harris says, Happy New Year, Errol and Keith. I like the new name of the show. Thanks, Don. It's now called The Ref's Opinion. And he says, looking good, gentlemen. And he comes up with another one here, and he says, the player, Casey, the best lesson he will ever learn. Well, that's exactly what Keith and I were just saying now. Absolutely. And here's one from my nephew, Matt Stevenson, who's in England. Was the first yellow card, first yellow, a justified yellow, which led to the second yellow/red. Well, Matt, it makes no difference whether it was justified or not. It was given and it was there, and he should have been aware of that. That's an argument all the time. Players will argue, "Oh, ref, I didn't do anything," and the thing is, he was yellow carded, and he should have known what was coming next if he transgressed again.
One of the things here that I would throw in as well, if the manager or the guy that's running the team at the moment, if he sees a player has got a yellow card and he's still lacking in discipline, or he thinks there's a risk, then let's look at the manager and say, look, why didn't you bring him off?
Yeah, as they do regularly.
Do you think the player's getting, but there's always this thing, isn't there? Players who are confident and have had a good start, some of them get arrogant, and they've come through a system, and I find it amazing and disappointing that a professional player, whatever age, should do what he did, because it's not allowed in football. It doesn't matter what you say. This was an absolute public dissent by action, and Simon Hooper was left with no room. He did the right thing. Well done, him.
Indeed. Here's another comment from a regular viewer and contributor, Gerard O'Brien. He says, a 6-year-old kid said to me today, he thought the player behaved very silly.
Good man. And I'm glad that he's come on the show and told us that. Yeah.
Even a 6-year-old knows that it was silly,
Yeah, brilliant.
Keith, you mentioned about, what was you saying before the show, before we came
there was a penalty kick situation.
Oh, the penalty kick. Yes, that one, yeah.
There was a penalty kick in one game, and forgive me, I can't remember. I think I can't remember which particular game off the top of my head. I think it was Chelsea. But as the penalty kick was being taken, almost alongside him, certainly well inside the penalty area, was a colleague of the kicker. And of course, I get the comment on social media, why is this allowed? Why? Surely this is clear encroachment into the penalty area. And I went back to the laws of the game because it looked wrong. It didn't look right. I've got to say, I was sent a video clip, and I've gone, wow, this is an experienced referee that's officiating the game. There wasn't VAR. in games in the FA Cup this weekend.
Correct. Yeah.
And as I thought I better have a look at the laws of the game, and it was quite interesting because what it says is that encroachment by the attacking player is only penalised if the encroachment impacts on the goalkeeper. That's and I go, they've been trying to take the subjectivity out of the offside law, which is a nonsense now. I mean, we had that full argument, I think, throughout the week in relation to a goal being chalked off for offside. When in fact there was a deliberate pass where there was a challenge and the player played the ball, it went directly to a player in an offside position. Those sort of areas, it just shows that match officials in the modern game have to keep up with the law amendments, and they've got to, because they don't come along in terms of practical refereeing in every match, and then all of a sudden you've got to rethink. If some of our young referees are watching this program as they do, kicked from the penalty mark to determine the outcome of a match, you need to look at that and keep looking at it. There's a matrix that's produced on the laws of the game in terms of encroachment, and I'm sure this is involved. So it nearly caught me out, in fairness, and it didn't look right. It still doesn't look right, but the law now allows that, and the referee determines. If that's the case. The other thing that I want to mention, which I think is important, is I'm seeing a lot of players where their shins come in contact with the opponent and they're writhing in agony, or they clipped and they're writhing in agony. And I smile because I'm thinking, when are these players going to realise that the wearing of shin pads of the appropriate size, and they're in appropriate size, I'm going back in history now, I'm saying the one that takes the full length of the shin is something that's what they were there to protect. Now they're using the mini shin pads and they're writhing in agony because they're getting it on the shin.
Yeah. And Keith, not only that, didn't FIFA not that long ago say that socks had to be pulled up to the knees?
Oh, I mean, they did all those things because they were worried of the consequence of blood infection if someone was injured in that way. But that seems to have cast aside, and people sitting around the table now at the IFAB think what we're going to think up next. Oh yeah, let the players decide the type of shin pad they want to use. Well, sometimes you have to treat these players as children, really, and say, I understand that it's light and it's all the benefits that you get, protection and pain can be free if you wear the right shin pad length. Just a point.
Yeah, just a reminder that you are watching the Ref's Opinion. It's the new name of the show. We go live every Monday night at 8 p.m. That's UK time. So wherever you are in the world, you check the difference in the time zones, etc. And joined as usual by former Premier League, former FIFA referee, former head of the PGMOL, and the man responsible for introducing goal line technology, Keith Hackett. Keith, there was a Brighton match, their equalising goal during the week, where they said it was an accidental handball. Now, I'm still trying to get my head around this. What is an accidental handball, for heaven's sake?
Well, I think that if I look at it, because it's not, I think we often hear the media make up offences and categorise them in explaining what has happened. If we take handball and it strikes the body and then the arm, the knee, if you like, and the arm, then that is deemed not an offence because it's deemed it's not deliberate, even though the hand can be slightly larger than the body shape. You know, when we look at the whole aspect of handball, there's a great deal of subjectivity around it. We know that we're still getting to coming to terms with the fact that the hand is, for the laws of the game, defined by the length of the arm up to the point where it's level with the underside of the armpit. That in itself must have taken a week to define, sitting around the table as far as the IFAB is concerned. Clearly they didn't say shirt sleeve, because we know what would happen. The shirt sleeve would be extended down to the wrist, wouldn't it? And deemed a short sleeve. So in that situation, then we have to look at the subjectivity. So that's defined. We know what the handball is. The important aspect for me is movement of the hand, deliberate movement of the hand towards the ball. Is deliberate was the key to handball for years and years and years.
And Keith, it was so simple. The law said the movement of the hand or the arm towards the ball, not the ball towards. I mean, why didn't they just leave it like that, for heaven's sake?
Well, what we get is we get a situation, don't we, where we've got to determine as referees, where is the body shape bigger? When you've got a player who's jumping for the ball, his arms go up. There's a natural extension of the width of the body by that. You know, it's easy the one above the head, and it's easy with the one that's fairly flat out, if you like, almost horizontal. But I think that the area that causes a great deal of confusion to referees and inconsistency is upper body foul. So if we take handball as part of that, where they're making the body shape, there was a goal disallowed this weekend in a game where the forward had jumped with the goalkeeper and the forward's arm was way high and came into contact with the goalkeeper. And there was a great hoo-ha about that one, saying, well, he was naturally jumping for the ball. Yeah, well, he was, but he had his arms outstretched and it hit the arm of the opposing goalkeeper. That's a foul. And again, the referee...
Just on that, Keith, just on that, I mean, I've heard the other side of the argument. Just, I'm sure people are screaming at the screen now and said, but, so I'm going to ask the question for you. They say you need your arms to get elevation.
Yeah.
So...
Yes, you do.
That's the other side.
But let me tell you this. Once the hands go above the elbow, they're no longer elevating your body. That's the signal to referees. Body mechanics are an important aspect of refereeing. We know, for example... Pardon?
You study physics?
No, what I did was I had a sports scientist come in and discuss with me body mechanics. And it's quite interesting because from that, you'll often see the fact that you can have backward movement of the arm in a natural method of raising your body and getting elevation. But you know full well that when it's a clenched fist, it's being used as a weapon. And the signal to the referee is if you do this in front of a mirror, you'll find that when you clench your fist, it's now impacting and it remains, it doesn't flatten out, it actually goes in and the elbow is used as a weapon. And you can get into the same situation with in a help of simulation. You know, when you look at certain acts of simulation, ignore the ones where there's manufactured contact. We had a couple of those this weekend, where the trailing leg is used as an anchor, where they're hoping that the referee is going to be conned because there's contact. There can be contact, and still it's simulation because you get the offence before the contact is made. But the aspect of simulation is, if you're caught by surprise, let's say you're walking on a pavement that's icy and you're caught by surprise, your immediate reaction is to put your arms out to break the fall. And what you get in acts of simulation is you get a bit of a dolphin type approach where the player stops being, his elevation is not level and parallel with the ground. It goes up a bit and down. It's a bit of a, I'm diving. And those are the, if you like, I've run workshops with referees to actually get those sort of things over. Somewhere in my files, I've not seen it a long time, I might have lost it, was the paper that this guy produced for me, which was outstanding. Body mechanics, important.
Not physics, body mechanics.
No.
Okay, another one on, just we were on penalties now. The ball hitting the outstretched arm is a penalty if it's inside the penalty area, obviously. But if it comes off the body and hits the arm, then it's not a penalty.
No. I think they build that into the, if you like, the equation that it's not deliberate. And again, it causes confusion because I think most people see inconsistency of interpretation. And as a consequence of that, we've now got into a position, haven't we, where if the ball strikes the hand in any way, shape or form, the people are closing, that's a penalty kick because it's handball. The referee also has to, in making the determination of handball, distance between the kicker and the offender, if you like, has to be taken into account. You have to take into account with that hard kick on the ball or kick on the ball, say into the penalty area and he strikes, is the defender a metre away or is he 2 metres? Has he got that opportunity to react? And sometimes it strikes and the guy's got no chance of reacting. So life's not easy for referees on handball. The only way that you improve is when you get, referees associations across the country, get active referees into their meetings armed with a lot of video clips, and then they ask the question and then they get the debate, because it really is, the PGMOL and UEFA setting an example in terms of how they interpret the laws, all of the laws, and you can learn from that. Obviously, I think there are times at the Premier League where I question whether they've done that because of the inconsistencies. I think it was the Everton game where there was a penalty kick given, which was appalling. It's the worst decision I've seen all season. The player went down. He wasn't even simulating. He brushed the player, went to ground, and I've gone, I couldn't believe the penalty kick was allowed. And here's the pose, and that is, it actually underpins that there are referees that have become lazy at the very highest level because they got used to their mate throwing that life belt into the water and saying, you got that one wrong, son, or that's a penalty kick. And this weekend, 1 or 2 referees were exposed to that, looking around, and somebody ought to have tapped them on the shoulder and said, no VAR today, ref, you've got to make the call. And on this Everton call, it was a very poor decision.
Oh, my goodness, the time goes so quickly, Keith. Honestly, we've run out of time again. I just want to thank everybody for not only viewing, but also to Don and to Matt and to Jared for making comments. We'll do it all again next Monday. It'll be called The Ref's Opinion from now on. You can get us on facebook.com/Hanging Judge Ref. You can see it on the screen there. And until next Monday, when I'm sure we'll have lots and lots more to talk about, I say good night to Keith and thank you for joining us. And good night to you out there also for joining the show. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.